Hello, welcome back everyone. Today also we'll be continuing with challenges to democracy. Okay, so today we'll be dealing with certain topics related with India. Okay, so in our last class we discussed about the challenges that democracy faces all around the world, and we even discuss about how India faces challenges. So we discuss about population explosion, communalism, casteism, regionalism, linguism, okay, poverty, unemployment, illiteracy. We have dealt with all this, okay, corruption. Also we dealt with casteism, okay, injustice against women. These are the challenges which the Indian democracy faces in our country even today. Okay, whereas today we'll be learning about some of the measures, okay, in order to remove these challenges, in order to tackle these challenges, and in order to deepen democracy. So we will be dealing one by one today in our class. Okay, so in the measures to deepen democracy, okay, the first step, okay, in India, in deepening democracy in India, is education. Okay, education plays a very important role, because if large section of the society are not educated, okay, they will be illiterate and they will not know what is happening in and around the world. It will be very difficult to understand the magnitude of what is going around here and there. Okay, education plays a very important role, because education is very systematic, it's very precise. Okay, it teach you everything about what is going here and there. You get to learn so many things. So education plays a very important role, and we know that India is lagging behind in education because of infrastructure, in terms of infrastructure. Okay, because of the poverty which is existent in India, most of the children are not educated. Okay, so what the government is trying to do is they are focusing solely on educating a large section of the society, because without education India would not be able to have a stable democratic form of government. India will keep on facing challenges in its way. Okay, they will not have smooth democratic government, or it cannot be ruled smoothly if there is lack of education, because a lot of hurdles and challenges will keep on coming in their way. Okay, because of which education plays a very important role, and education also changes the perspective of the people, changes the outlook of the people. See, if you're not educated, something is happening around and you are not quite aware of what is it. Okay, but say you are an educated person but something is going on, so now you are quite aware of it. So what happens? Your perspective changes, your outlook changes. You would want to go and fight for what is happening, you would want to change the system. Yes or no? So education plays a very important role, and the government, okay, should take proper care for facilitating education in and around, in the nook and corner. Okay, towns, cities, rural areas, they have to take care of everything, even in these areas as well. Even in the most remotest villages, education should be accessible, so that people would be educated and they would be aware about things, and so that their perspective and outlook would change for the country as well. Okay, so that is the first point, and all the points are related with education only. Without education, they cannot do anything. So education plays a major role in deepening, or in order to face the challenges in the Indian democracy. So point number 2 also focuses on having a literate society. Okay, if you have a literate society, means an educated society, then one would know his or her right. Okay, you and I, if we are educated, if we are not educated, okay, say example, if we are educated, we will know so many things, we will know about our rights, we can go and fight for our rights. Okay, if we are not educated, okay, we will know bits and pieces of our rights, and we cannot even raise our voice because we don't know much of our rights. Okay, so that is what happens when people are not educated. Once they are educated, they can speak out for their rights, because they know everything that it is going on. So they can fight for their rights. They can also promote science and technology. When education is there in a country, it can promote science and technology on a very large scale. Okay, number, if you just go ahead, okay, you have political awareness as well. If you are educated, you will know about politics. Okay, if something is going wrong in a state government, okay, or maybe a political party is not working fine, you will know what is wrong, what is going wrong, what injustice they are doing. You will know that if you are educated well. Okay, and you can fight for that as well. Okay, and next would be, can understand the importance of liberty and social equality. If a person is educated, he can understand the importance of liberty, he can understand the rights that is given to him, the independence that is given to him or her. Okay, as well as social equality. Okay, having a society without any kind of discrimination, having equal status in a society. And we can see that in India it is lagging behind in social sphere. Okay, so what happens is, if you are educated, the social equality would also improve. There would be justice in the society as well. There will be no higher caste, lower caste, rich and poor. Okay, so what happens here is, if people are educated up to a large scale, okay, they would quite doubtably, okay, they will know about everything that is in existence, and would also improve the society as well. Education also makes a person skillful. Okay, it gives him important information, and he also increases his knowledge. Okay, so education is not only based on bookish knowledge, but it also gives practical skill for doing things. Okay, so education plays a very important role in deepening democracy. Next point is legal literacy. Okay, legal literacy means legal education. Okay, means knowing the law. Okay, educating the person in order to know the law. Okay, so legal literacy means it's nothing but it's all about legal education, making people aware of their political setup. Okay, so you have a government, and then you don't know much about it, you don't know how it functions, you don't know what laws are being implemented in the government, and you just sit idly like that. Okay, so sometimes this decision can be harmful as well, these decisions can be bad as well. Okay, so it is best for people to be legally aware, to be legally educated, so that they would understand the magnitude of what is going on. Okay, so if any kind of injustice or exploitation is happening in the society or against you, then you can approach. If you have a little bit of understanding about legal education, you can approach them, you can go and point fingers at them, and then get justice out of it. Okay, so it is very important for one to be legally educated. Okay, so legal literacy, okay, remind each and every one of us, okay, of our rights, okay, duties and legal obligation towards the society. Okay, it talks about rights. Okay, no, it lets people know about their legal obligations, what are the legal things, what are according to the law, it's made known to the people. Okay, and also it makes a responsible person, it makes you and I as a responsible person of a civil society, okay, or a society in which we are living. Okay, if we have this kind of understanding, we can fight for our rights according to the law. Okay, so legal education is very much important in today's society as well. Okay, next we have fundamental rights. Okay, we all know that our constitution gives the fundamental rights. Okay, these are the basic rights that a person needs in their life, in their day-to-day life. Okay, so these are the basic rights which has been granted by the Constitution of India, and it can be found in any kind of democratic setup. Okay, so these fundamental rights is mainly for the citizens. If people are not educated, they will not know about their fundamental rights, they will not know about their basic rights. Okay, so fundamental rights tries to tries to make the life of people simple, makes the life of the people go smoothly. Okay, so if there is no fundamental rights, okay, so if there is no fundamental rights, then there will be no basic rights, and people would not have the right to freedom. Okay, right to freedom to question someone, to do something. There will be no equality. There will be so many exploitation that is going on. Okay, we will also be having religious clashes. Okay, so fundamental rights is very important in a democratic setup, because it is when we have a democratic setup, it is all by the will of the people. Okay, so the fundamental rights is needed so that people would have all these privileges and would be able to run their country very smoothly. Okay, so fundamental rights plays a very important role in giving rights to human beings living in our country. Okay, so next we have freedom of press. Okay, freedom of press plays a very important role, because press is it's like a storehouse where they bring a lot of information, a lot of news to the people. Okay, it's like the press is like a place for public opinion. It's a time for sharing news. It's a time for having debates. Okay, so freedom of press is much needed. Okay, in most of the countries you will not find freedom of press. Okay, the press are not given freedom to deliberately write something, to broadcast something about someone or the government. Okay, but in India we could see that freedom of press has been widely used. Okay, where the news channel, the print medias, they try to convey the news of what is happening in nook and corner of India. Okay, so freedom of press plays a very important role in order to make awareness to the people, in order to make people know about what is happening. Okay, if we do not have freedom of press, half of the country might not even know what is going around in the other corner of the country. Okay, so the press is playing a very important role in conveying this message to the people, in formulating public opinion. Okay, towards to formulating public opinion in the country. Okay, as well. Okay, so press plays a very effective role in a country. Okay, so freedom of press is much needed in a country like India as well. Okay, also there should be economic security in a country. Okay, if there is no economic security in a democratic form of government, there would be huge gap between the rich and the poor. Okay, and you will see a huge number of people becoming poor, because if you do not have economic security, then what will happen is the rich will become richer day by day, whereas the poor people will become poorer day by day. So it is very essential that we have economic security in a democratic form of government, so that everyone would be equal enough. Okay, and they will not fall under poverty line as well. Okay, so that is all about economic security. Next topic is political reforms. Okay, political reforms is nothing but it is, we can just say that it is making changes. Okay, making changes in the political scenario, or suggestion to make changes. Okay, in order to face challenges in a democracy. Okay, making challenges, or giving suggestions, okay, to make some changes in order to face challenges. Okay, because if we follow the same pattern again and again, we might not be able to tackle the situation. But because people suggest, because the democratic form of government, it is run by the will of people, so the will of the people also matters in a democratic country. So we have to listen to the will of the people as well. Okay, in order to make this kind of changes. Okay, whether it may be in a political scenario, okay, or it may be in a constitution or a government. Okay, the will of the people is needed. Okay, so political reforms can be in the political scenario in terms of a constitution or a parliament, or a government. Okay, so changes can be made in a democratic form of government. Okay, so it has to go through a number of reforms. Okay, we will look into it one by one. There are 4 points which is given in your textbook, so we will look into it one by one. Legal means, okay, in a legal means, how do we reform or change? Okay, so passing laws, okay, to stop or ban something which is going on, okay, can be done, okay, can be done easily. Okay, in one way, okay, what happens is a group of people, say example, something is going wrong in a state. So what happens is the central government gathers and they try to resolve it. They try to bring out a new law. Okay, and what happens is, yes, they can sit, they can discuss, and they can make the law within few hours, and then they can pass the law as well. Okay, they can pass the law as well. But yes, no doubt it will reform, it will create a political reform, or it will change the law it will change the existing law with a new law. But what happens here is it will not be very much successful. Okay, yes, I'm telling you, it will not be much successful. Why? Because the group of people, they gathered, okay, they are from they are from, I say, different political parties. They gathered together, okay, have this meeting together in order to change the law. But what mistake they did is, okay, they did not ask the will of the people, they did not ask the opinion of the other political parties. So what happened here is, in a democratic setup, the will of the people is very important. The people in the country should also be able to accept the law that is going to be implemented. Okay, the government, in a democratic setup, government does not run by the rule of a single person. Okay, government is formed by the common will of the people. When the people see that something is good in him, then they only elect this political party. Yes or no? So okay, so when that happens, okay, they cannot make hastily decision by themselves, okay, without taking prior consent of the people in the country. Okay, so when they are forming new laws, what they can do is, okay, they can come together, club together, ask the opinion of the people living in the country or the state, and then they can formulate new laws accordingly, where new laws would also come, the people in the country would also be satisfied and would be happy here. So it should be done with the will of the people as well. Okay, not just hastily made decision. Okay, an example has been given in your textbook. It talks about dowry practices and harassment of brides for dowries. Okay, these are being banned already. Dowry system, as well as the harassment of women in dowry, they would be, they would be sentenced to sentenced by the law. Okay, but what happens here is, yes, dowry practices have been banned according to the Indian government, but it was a hasty decision. Okay, because the people, they do not, because it had the lack, okay, there had a lack of the will of the people. Okay, the people did not agree with the decision which was made by the government. Okay, because see, if you're removing the dowry practices, if you are making the taking of dowry as an illegal thing, okay, then what happens? The people should also agree that, yes or no. But what happens here, the government has introduced a new law that if anyone is caught taking dowry, then they will be punished. Both the male as well as the female's family would be punished. But here, okay, so many people in India, they do not accept this law, because of which dowry system is still prevalent, harassment against women is still prevalent. Okay, so if the government is implementing something, the will of the people should also be there, so that the people would follow that. But in this case, okay, dowry practices were not approved by the people. Okay, was not taken the opinion or will of the people, and so dowry system is still prevalent in our country. Next is considering all pros and cons. If you are going to change a law, if you're going to bring something new, okay, what you have to look is, the good side as well as the bad side as well. So if you're doing something, someone might look at you, okay, they might think that it's right, somebody might think that it's wrong. Okay, so we will have to look, when we are passing such kind of laws, we should look into the pros and cons. Okay, we should look into the right and wrong as well. Okay, so if you're passing something, so you will see the good side of it as well as the bad side. Okay, and after deliberation, after deliberating nicely, then they should reform the things, they should change the things. Okay, not hastily decision. Okay, hastily passed law creates havoc in the country as well. Okay, so we should understand, we should take time, okay, study the magnitude of the law that you're going to be passing or the political reform that you're going to be making. Okay, you should look into the good side as well as the bad side. Okay, so that people will not suffer when these new laws are being passed. Okay, one example which is given in your textbook was many states, okay, in and around many states in the Panchayati Raj elections, okay, while contesting for Panchayati Raj elections, those family who have more than two children, okay, they were not given the right to contest the election. So there is not equality. Okay, that is denying political equality to the people. So this is a kind of a hastily decision, okay, which was passed, where if any person has more than two children, they cannot contest an election in the Panchayati Raj elections. So it is denying the basic rights of the people. Okay, so this is a kind of a hastily decision which is being passed by the government as well. Okay, but today, okay, the government has introduced RTI, right to information. Okay, so if any kind of laws has been passed, what happens is people have the right to go and ask, people have the right to go and question, okay, so that they would know about it. Okay, so that is one of the best things which the government have implemented, because it helps people get knowledge about the things that is happening in the offices, or maybe when the law has been passed. Okay, they know the magnitude of the law as well. Okay, next is improving the quality of improving the quality of political participation. Okay, so in the heading there's a mistake. Okay, improving the quality of political participation here. Okay, in a democratic setup, the country is in the hands of the people. Okay, the people have the right to vote, people have the right to to form the government. Okay, so the participation of citizen, okay, plays a very important role in improving the quality of political participation. If the citizens of the country do not participate, okay, then what happened, the political reforms cannot be possible. Okay, if people take, okay, if people take, or if people participate, okay, if citizens in the country participate, because citizens play a very important role in a democratic setup. So citizens, okay, if they participate, okay, it makes political reform easier. Okay, and it can be possible in a democratic setup as well. Okay, so that is all about improving the quality of citizens participating. Okay, next is implementation of reforms. Okay, so if a law is going to be passed, you might be thinking, who will pass the law? Okay, you might be thinking it might be passed by your father, your mother, or maybe your close ones. But the thing is, okay, who will implement and make the laws? Will it be us who will make the laws or change the law, or the government would do that? Okay, in that scenario, okay, the answer would be it is the people of the country. Okay, in a democratic setup, we are living in a democratic setup, so it is us, okay, who will be changing, or who will be making the new laws, who will be changing, who will be bringing reform in the political scenario as well. How would be, okay, how can it be possible in order to bring reforms by us? That's the question. So it is by, okay, it is through public opinion, it is by sharing our opinion, it is by expressing our views, we will be able to bring a solution, or we will be able to bring a change in the law which is being implemented, okay, which is going to be formed, or which is going to be running around the country. Okay, so people participation plays very important role. So for a political reform, what happens here is, if you have to make a change, okay, if you have to bring a reform in a political setup, or in a country, or in the law firm of a country, then what happens is the participation of you and I is very important, because we are living in a democratic country, and in a democratic country the people is the one, okay, who will lead the country, or who will take an active role, okay, in bringing reform in the country. Without us, okay, without us, the country would not be able to function smoothly. Okay, so it would become like a dictatorial form of regime, okay, if people do not participate. We are given all the rights, we are given all the freedom, so we should express out, so that things would be changed in our political setup, as well as in our laws and new implementations as well. So that's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day. We will continue in our next class.